Have you ever stopped to wonder what true freedom really feels like? Not the freedom of youth, where boundless energy makes us believe anything is possible, but the quiet, profound freedom that only arrives with the wisdom of age. What if I told you that the secret to a deeply fulfilling life in your golden years isn't about accumulating more, achieving more, or even holding on tighter, but precisely the opposite? It's about learning to gracefully, intentionally let go. This isn't about giving up on life or settling for less. It's about a radical shift in perspective, understanding that true liberation often comes from releasing the very things we once clung to so tightly. In this journey we call life, especially as the years tenderly turn our hair to silver, we discover that some of the greatest burdens we carry are the ones we put on ourselves. Today, we're going to gently explore 6 profound areas where letting go can unlock a peace and joy you might never have imagined. We'll uncover how releasing old habits, forgiving past hurts, and embracing simplicity can transform your daily experience, making your later years not just comfortable, but truly radiant. Stay with me until the end, because you may find that the power of letting go isn't just liberating. It might just change the way you see yourself and the world around you for the better. Now let's begin. Letting go of the need to be right or prove a point. Have you noticed how much energy we once spent trying to win every argument, to always have the last word? In our younger days, there was often this silent pressure, wasn't there? A deep-seated need to be seen as intelligent, knowledgeable, or simply correct. Whether it was a discussion with a colleague, a friendly debate with a neighbor, or even a heartfelt conversation with a loved one, a part of us often felt compelled to assert our viewpoint, to prove our validity. We believed that by winning the argument, we somehow won respect or secured our place. But as the tapestry of life unfolds, and we gather years like precious threads, something profound shifts within us. By the time you reach your later years, you've witnessed enough to understand that peace holds far greater value than pride. You've seen how stubbornness can build walls, how the relentless pursuit of being right can cost us connection, and how little true satisfaction comes from dominating a conversation. The opinions of others, once so weighty, begin to gently recede into the background. You realize that your worth isn't defined by external validation, nor by how many times you win a discussion. It's defined by the quiet strength of your character, the wisdom you've accumulated, and the calm you carry within. There's no longer a need to chase debates for status or intellectual superiority. You are who you are, and you don't need anyone else's agreement to confirm it. Think about someone like Arthur, a man in his early 70s. He spent most of his life as a formidable debater, always ready with a counter-argument, a fact to cite, a logic to apply. His friends and family often admired his sharp mind, but sometimes found him exhausting. After a health scare, Arthur began to reflect. He noticed how much mental energy he poured into these intellectual battles, and how little genuine connection they fostered. He started listening more, speaking less, and most importantly, letting go of the urge to correct others, even when he knew he was right. He discovered a profound calm, a quiet freedom he'd never experienced. Conversations became richer, relationships more relaxed. He realized that the greatest victory wasn't proving a point, but finding peace. This is the key. When you no longer seek validation through intellectual sparring, you free up immense energy, not just for yourself, but for richer, more meaningful connections. A quiet peace settles when you release the need for external agreement, releasing past regrets and self-blame. There's a whisper in our hearts sometimes of, What ifs and if-onlys, isn't there? We all carry them, tucked away in the quiet corners of our minds. Moments we wish we could rewind, decisions we'd alter, words we wish we'd never said, or perhaps words we wish we had spoken. In our youth, these regrets might have felt like heavy chains, binding us to a past we couldn't change. We might have blamed ourselves, dwelling on perceived failures, allowing old mistakes to cast long shadows over our present joy. The weight of past mistakes, missed opportunities, or even perceived slights we inflicted upon others can feel immense. But freedom truly blossoms when we learn to forgive the past, and most profoundly, to forgive ourselves. As we mature, we gain the precious gift of perspective. We understand that every step, every stumble, every unexpected turn has shaped us into the unique individuals we are today. To dwell endlessly on what cannot be undone is to steal the very joy and peace from the present moment. This is where a deep spiritual insight often comes into play. For many, finding peace means entrusting those past burdens to a higher power, seeking forgiveness not just from others, but from God, and ultimately, from one's own heart. It's recognizing that even in our imperfections, there is grace and an opportunity for profound healing. Consider Sarah, a woman in her late 70s, who carried the burden of a strained relationship with her sister for decades. A misunderstanding from their youth, fueled by pride and silence, had grown into a chasm. Sarah spent years replaying conversations, blaming herself or blaming her sister for what had happened. It gnawed at her peace. One quiet evening, during prayer, she felt a profound sense of release. She wasn't asked to forget, but to forgive, both her sister and herself for holding on to the hurt for so long. She wrote her sister a letter, not expecting a reply, but simply to release the words that had been trapped inside. While the sister never responded, Sarah found an immense liberation. The weight lifted. She realized that forgiveness wasn't about excusing the past, but about freeing her own heart from its captivity. When you learn to offer that same grace to your past self and to those who may have caused you pain, an incredible lightness enters your spirit. This quiet act of letting go of regrets is perhaps one of the most powerful steps toward true serenity. But freedom truly blossoms when we learn to forgive the past and ourselves, letting go of material accumulation and more. Remember when we thought happiness came from the next big purchase, the next achievement, the next shiny thing? For so much of our lives, we are subtly, sometimes overtly, conditioned to believe that fulfillment lies in accumulation. A bigger house, a fancier car, more clothes, more gadgets, more investments. The mantra of more echoed through our younger years. We chased these things, often sacrificing precious time, energy, and even relationships, convinced that they would bring lasting joy or a sense of security. We believed that having more meant being more. But as the seasons of life unfold and our perspective deepens, a quiet realization often dawns. True abundance often arrives when we loosen our grip on what we thought we needed. We begin to understand that possessions, rather than bringing freedom, can often become their own burden. They require maintenance, worry, and often they simply sit, gathering dust, reminding us of a fleeting desire. The wisdom of age gently guides us towards appreciating simplicity, understanding that the greatest riches are not found in what we own, but in who we are, what we experience, and the quiet moments of peace we cultivate. The genuine richness of life reveals itself in the warmth of sunlight, the laughter of grandchildren, the quiet comfort of a familiar book, or a gentle walk in nature. Take Eleanor, for instance, a vibrant woman in her early 80s. Her home was once filled to the brim with collectibles, antiques, and gifts accumulated over a lifetime. Each item held a story, but together, they felt overwhelming. She realized she was spending more time dusting and organizing than truly living. One spring, she decided to begin a thoughtful process of decluttering. She wasn't throwing things away carelessly, but intentionally choosing what truly brought her joy, what served a purpose, and what she genuinely needed. As she let go of item after item, a china set she never used, old trophies that no longer resonated, clothes she hadn't worn in years, she felt an incredible lightness. Her home felt more spacious, her mind clearer. She found immense joy in donating cherished items to those who could truly use them, realizing that their purpose was renewed. This act of letting go of material things wasn't about scarcity. It was about creating space for clarity, for peace, and for the true abundance that lies in freedom from possessions. Yet, true abundance often arrives when we loosen our grip on what we thought we needed, releasing unrealistic expectations of others, especially family. How often have our hearts ached because someone, especially a loved one, didn't meet a silent expectation we held for them? From the earliest days, we often form unspoken blueprints for how our children should live, how our spouses should act, or how our friends should respond. We project our hopes, our dreams, and sometimes even our own unfulfilled desires onto those closest to us. When reality diverges from these carefully constructed expectations, it can lead to deep disappointment, frustration, and even resentment. We might find ourselves caught in a cycle of hurt, silently wishing others would change to fit our mold. This quiet acceptance, this letting go of how things should be, opens a different kind of love. The wisdom of age gently guides us towards a profound truth. True love flourishes in acceptance, not expectation. It's about loving people as they are, recognizing their unique paths, their struggles, and their triumphs, without the burden of trying to change them. The peace found in releasing control over others and embracing their imperfections as part of their beautiful humanity is a rare and precious gift. This isn't about apathy. It's about a deeper, more compassionate understanding of the human condition. It's about realizing that everyone is on their own journey, doing the best they can with what they have. Consider Robert, a man in his mid-70s, who had always envisioned his son taking over the family business. He had invested years in this dream, subtly guiding, sometimes pushing, his son towards this path. When his son ultimately chose a completely different career, Robert felt a profound sense of disappointment, a mix of hurt and even a touch of betrayal. For years, this unspoken expectation created a quiet tension between them. One day, after a particularly heartfelt conversation with a dear friend, Robert realized the burden he was placing on both himself and his son. He was holding on to a dream that wasn't his son's. He made a conscious decision to let go. He embraced his son's choices, celebrated his successes, and offered unconditional support, even if it wasn't the path he had once imagined. The transformation was remarkable. Their relationship blossomed into a deeper, more honest connection, free from the weight of expectations. Robert found a peace he hadn't known before, realizing that his son's happiness was far more important than his own preconceived notions. This quiet acceptance, this letting go of how things should be, opens a different kind of love, letting go of societal pressures and keeping up. The world often tells us how we should live, what we should strive for, even at our age, doesn't it? From the moment we are young, society presents us with an invisible checklist. Career milestones, financial achievements, social status, even how we should look or behave in our golden years. There's a subtle pressure to stay busy, to remain constantly active, to project an image of vibrancy and perpetual motion. We might feel a quiet urge to keep up with neighbors, with past colleagues, or even with the idealized images presented to us. This constant striving, this unspoken competition to do it all or have it all, can be incredibly draining, even in later life. But once free from the world's whispers, we find ourselves in the quiet comfort of our own skin. True freedom in our golden years means having the courage to break free from these invisible chains. It's about defining your own pace, your own purpose, and your own joyful rhythm, irrespective of what anyone else expects. It's the profound liberation of saying no to social obligations that drain you, no to activities that don't genuinely bring you joy, and no to the exhausting pursuit of external validation. This isn't about becoming a hermit. It's about living authentically, honoring your own needs, and embracing the quiet power of simply being yourself. Consider Martha, a woman in her late 60s who had always prided herself on being a social butterfly, constantly volunteering, attending events, and maintaining a packed calendar. She felt a constant pressure to be busy and relevant. But secretly, she often felt exhausted and overwhelmed, doing things out of obligation rather than genuine desire. Her friends praised her energy, unaware of the quiet fatigue she carried. One day, a small incident, she simply forgot an important meeting she had committed to, made her pause. She realized she was stretching herself too thin, trying to live up to an image rather than truly enjoying her life. She started slowly, gently, saying no to invitations she wasn't truly excited about. She declined committee positions that no longer resonated. She embraced quiet mornings, long walks, and simply sitting with a cup of tea, allowing herself to simply be. The initial guilt quickly faded, replaced by a profound sense of relief and renewed energy. She found that the people who truly mattered understood, and her genuine joy in simpler activities attracted new, more authentic connections. And once free from the world's whispers, we find ourselves in the quiet comfort of our own skin, embracing the natural flow of life, letting go of control. Life, in its wisdom, often unfolds in ways we never planned, doesn't it? We start with blueprints, with grand designs for our future, for our health, for our families. We exert immense effort trying to steer the ship of our lives in a perfectly straight line, to control every variable, to predict every outcome. But as the years progress, we inevitably encounter the unplannable, the unpredictable, a sudden health challenge, an unexpected change in circumstances, the loss of a loved one. These moments can shake us to our core, making us realize the illusion of control we once clung to so fiercely. This surrender isn't defeat. It's the quiet triumph of a soul at peace. The ultimate surrender comes from letting go of the need to control every facet of life. It's the profound peace found in accepting what is, rather than perpetually resisting what is not. This isn't passive resignation. It's an active, conscious choice to trust in a deeper unfolding, a divine timing, or simply the natural rhythm of the universe. For many, this means leaning into faith, finding solace and strength in the belief that there is a purpose, even in the most challenging times. It's about understanding that some doors close so others can open, and that true strength lies not in forcing an outcome, but in adapting with grace. Consider David, a man who, at 72, faced a significant health diagnosis that changed his daily life dramatically. He had always been fiercely independent, meticulously planning his days, his finances, his future. The diagnosis felt like a loss of control, and initially, he resisted with all his might, fighting against the limitations. He felt angry, frustrated, and deeply afraid. But over time, through quiet reflection and the gentle guidance of a spiritual counselor, he began to shift his perspective. He realized that while he couldn't control the illness, he could control his response to it. He began to practice acceptance, to find joy in the small, simple moments, and to surrender his need to dictate every outcome. He focused on what he could do, rather than what he couldn't. He found a quiet strength in accepting assistance when needed, and a surprising peace in the slower pace his life now demanded. He realized that true strength wasn't about battling every challenge, but about finding harmony within the current reality. This surrender isn't defeat. It's the quiet triumph of a soul at peace, able to find joy and meaning even when the path takes an unexpected turn. This surrender isn't defeat. It's the quiet triumph of a soul at peace. Final thoughts. As we gently bring our conversation to a close, take a quiet moment to reflect on the profound strength and freedom that emerges from the simple yet revolutionary act of letting go. This journey isn't about isolation or resignation. It's about intentional liberation. It's about choosing peace over the exhausting demands of external pressures and embracing a life that is truly aligned with your deepest desires, not just inherited expectations. By now, you've seen how releasing the need to always be right, forgiving past regrets, shedding the weight of material accumulation, freeing yourself from unrealistic expectations of others, and letting go of the ceaseless urge to control can open doors to an unprecedented sense of joy and fulfillment. Which of these gentle acts of letting go resonated most deeply with you today? Perhaps you've already felt the quiet relief of releasing a long-held grudge, or the lightness that comes from decluttering a physical space, or even simply forgiving yourself for a perceived misstep. Or perhaps this conversation has simply illuminated a new path, a gentle invitation to explore what parts of your life might be ready for release. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share just one thing you learned today, or one small step you might consider taking towards this beautiful freedom. Your insights are not just comments. They are whispers of wisdom from one heart to another, and they offer so much encouragement to us all. If you found comfort, inspiration, or a moment of reflection in this video, please consider liking it, subscribing to our channel, and sharing it with someone who might also find solace in these words. Your support helps us continue creating content that truly matters. Thank you for spending this precious time with us, and we look forward to connecting with you in the next video.